Oh, it's on. Hello everyone, hope you're having a fantastic Monday so far and welcome back to the Waiver Wire Show straight from Moscow. Your weekly information on one Russian Pokemon and their potential usage in a draft league format. I am Vladimir Stromfel and today I'm going to take you on a journey never seen before. It's going to be better than vodka, better than Mr. Putin's hairline, better than getting banned from the Olympics, better than... So last week I left you guys with some options for which Pokemon to cover this week, and it looks like the Generation 1 monstrosity Dragonite came out on top. So strap up your seatbelts and grow some tiny fucking wings. This is some bullshit, because we're ready to take off. Okay, so looking at the stats we're working with this week, you guys did not leave me disappointed at all. Dragonite has a very respectable lineup here with a super solid base HP at 91. You can slap the living shit out of your opponent with a nice 134 base attack, respectable bulk on the physical and the special side with base 95 and 100, a workable special attack at base 100, and then a mediocre speed here as base 80. So overall we're dealing with a very bulky and hard-hitting Pokemon this week, who can move around at a decent speed. And for the record, even I have bigger wings than this guy, but can I fly? No! This is both sexist and racist for reasons I can't really explain, but it is, trust me, it really is. Dragonite is a dragon and flying type, which is a dreadful combination from an offensive side of view. Dragon was easily the best offensive typing in the first 5 generations, and it was so good that Game Freak decided to add a bunch of small Tinkerbells to the game to keep them in check. Now we're of course in Generation 7, but oh boy does Dragon still wreak havoc. Flying is also a good offensive typing, and the combination takes out pretty much every single type except for Steel type. Defensively, the typing is also very good. Dragon has plenty of resistances and flying adds that immunity to ground, which is also very good to have because ground is a good offensive typing. This however leaves Dragonite with a 4 times weakness to ice, and it will die as soon as the temperature drops below 0 degrees. So now that we have learned the basics with the Dragonite, we can now dive right into why it in theory would fit on a draft team. Alright, so kicking things off is the fact that Dragonite is a very versatile Pokemon. And if you ever come out to the show or watch draft leagues in general, you know that versatility is super important. Not knowing whether or not Dragonite will be special, physical, mixed, speedy, bulky or something in between is very frustrating for your opponent to the point where they want to rip out their own hair. And that's actually the reason why a majority of the draft league players are bald. The more you know. Dragonite's wide move pool can be dragged all the way to China from my desk, it's so wide, and includes a lot of setup options, priority option and hard-hitting moves, and even some status options to throw in the mix. Your question might be why we should pick up Dragonite over any other setup Pokemon. Well, that kind of leads us into our next point. Dragonite's ability Multiscale is a stupidly good ability for setup Pokemon. When Dragonite is at 100% health, every single incoming attack will be reduced with 50%. It doesn't matter which attack it is, it could be this attack, or it could be that attack, or it can even be this attack. No problem, we will be tanking the hits either way. With the added bulk, Dragonite becomes a fearsome setup sweeper with Dragon Hands and can really sweep through an opponent's team, especially if they lack a Fairy or a Steel type. Last but not least is the fact that Dragonite does give you a solid Dragon typing for your Dragon Fairy Steel core. Dragon Fairy Steel cores are very popular in the draft league community, which is valid because of how powerful they actually are. And why not fill up that spot with the original Dragon, aka Dragonite? But there has to be a reason why this Pokemon wasn't drafted, and it's probably because of the cons that the Pokemon have, which we will go over now. The first con that probably came to all of our minds is the fact that Dragonite doesn't have the best speed tier in the world. A speed of 80 is not something to yell hooray over in the nighttime, since it does leave you quite weak to a lot of common choice scarfers. Anything with a base speed of 81 or higher can comfortably run a choice scarf and revenge kill Dragonite after your Dragon Dance boost. But Dragonite has amazing bulk, I hear you write in the comments. Well, you need quite a bit more bulk to survive a 4 times weak attack, which will lead us into our next con. Dragonite's glaring weakness to ice gives it a hard time not being revenge killed by literally everything, since the hidden power is a thing. Slap on that HP ice on your Scarfer and you have Dragonite basically in check. Also, ice having a reliable priority option in Ice Shard makes the job even harder for a yellow friend here. Now, last but not least is the fact that Dragonite's main advantage over all other sweepers is the fact that Dragonite has the ability Multiscale, which we went over just a minute ago. But for Multiscale to work, you need to be at 100% health, which means that Stealth Rocks cannot be on the field, ever. Drafting a solid hazard check is necessary when having Dragonite, which might make you lean away from it because you know you need to center your team around it. But don't you worry, drafting hazard support is not the hardest thing in this generation, since literally everything learns defog. But with your perfectly drafted team, we still need to figure out some sample sets for this monster. So let's go over right to Pokemon Showdown to do just that. Set number 1 is your generic setup sweeping Dragonite, which is the setup you'll most likely find yourself using most of the time. The set is aimed to set up a Dragon Dance, which makes you faster and stronger, and start to deliver the fattest smackdown imaginable. The smackdown will either be served with an Outrage, which does so much damage after a Dragon Dance boost, Earthquake for those steel types thinking they're all cool resisting your Outrage, but nope. Earthquake to the face. We do also pack the Extreme Speed for a priority option in case we do need to revenge kill a scary Pokemon on the opposing side of the field before we do our setup. The item is a Yachi Berry, which will give a middle finger to all of those obnoxious Scarfers with the HP Ice. You will be able to tank the hit with the Yachi Berry and outrage the Choice Scarfer into the next dimension. The EVs are simple, max into speed and attack with a jolly nature to be as fast as possible after the Dragon Dance boost. An alternative set is having the Lumberry instead, which will cure your confusion that you self-induced by clicking Outrage. This makes you sweep a little bit longer since you do not have to rely on confusion not smacking you in the face. Both of these sets do have the multi-skill because there's literally no reason not to, and if your opponent doesn't have a fairy or steel type, oh boy are they in for a treat. Set number 2 is kind of the mirror to set number 1. Rather than taking everything out of their misery straight away, you will just sit there and watch them slowly die. Holy shit, that took a dark turn. This Dragonite is aimed to stay on the field for as long as possible, so if you do hate your opponent and wish to see them mentally suffer, look no further because this might just be the set for you. This set is focused on being a physical wall and really chip down your opponent with Toxic and the fact that this dragon will not die. We do have the Multiscale, which couples really well with the Roost, since you will be able to get back to Multiscale plenty of times. Toxic is of course the main way of offense on this set, and we do have this sub there in order for not to get Toxic back. With the bulk we have, not a lot of physical attackers will be able to break your sub if you're in Multiscale, which is awesome. We do also have the Dragon Tail for a few reasons. This is in case we do get taunted, in case someone wants to set up and thinking we can't touch them, in case we have some hazards on the opposing side of the field and want to shuffle the opponent around a bit, or if we predict a roar from your opponent while you're behind the sub. The EVs are pretty simple, just max defense with a bit of speed to outspeed base 85 Pokemon. Next up we got ourselves the wall breaking set, which will crack open your opponent's team like a walnut on Christmas. The goal with this set is just to do damage, and that's basically it. Just do damage and let a sweeper in the back clean up after you. The moves that we have to break down your opponent with is the Earthquake, Fire Blast, Extreme Speed and Draco Meteor. As you can see, we're now utilizing Dragonite's decent special attack to be able to really dent those physical checks that may want to switch in on a expected physical move. Draco Meteor is a very strong stab move. We got the Fire Blast and the Earthquake to hit all sorts of steel types, and then we have the Extreme Speed to pick off the weaker opponents. It may seem weird to have the Multiscale and Life Orb on the same set, but the Life Orb is required to do the amount of damage that we are looking for. Multiscale is still useful. Let's say that you need to check a scary Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. It uses a horrifying setup move, but Dragonite will be able to take one hit due to its reliable bulk and the Multiscale and just dish out a ton of damage back. The EVs are simple, max in speed and special attack to power up Draco Meteor with a little bit of attack on the side. Moving on to the build set for this week, and oh boy do I have a spicy one for you people. This is the completely special Rain Dance Sweeping Dragonite, with the idea to use the Waterium Z to turn Rain Dance into Z Rain Dance and give Dragonite a +1 speed and have some turns to have fun in the rain. The moves that we have are all rain reliant. You know, the Stab Hurricanes become a 100% accurate, Thunder also becomes easier to hit, and then we have this Surf who gets a 50% boost. You probably need to weaken your opponent a lot for this set to even have a shot of sweeping, but on the flip side, this dragon can do some damage when it gets going. Also, you do have a 30% chance for the confusion and a 30% for the paralyzation. Yes, please, I will definitely take that one. The EVs are simple, maxing to speed and special attack, with a timid nature here because you do want to be as fast as possible if you want to try and sweep your opponent with this. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Waiver Wire Show. Now, if you want to be a part of the decision of next week's featured Pokemon, there's a link in the description down below that will guide you to a straw poll. The options for next week are Hoopa, and that's not the one that Envy got, that's the more tinier one. Probopass, Stunfisk, Slacking, Carnivine, Shiinotic, and Vanillux. If you know any Pokemon that wasn't drafted and want to see it featured on the show, you can always leave them in the comments and I'll try to put them on the poll next week. If anyone else feels like they want to dare me to do anything else in these videos, by all means, you can always challenge me and see how that goes. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been your host Stromfel, and I'll see all of you at the same time next week. Goodbye.